Ya, morning.
Recording.
Bentar, saya lagi apa ya adjust apa perangkat karena laptop saya bermasalah jadi dipakai apa kayak perangkat lain sebentar. Oke. Bentar. Oke, ini sudah terlihat ya Bapak Ibu ya. Oke, baik. Kita tuh good morning.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Morning. Betul.
Baik, selamat
Morning,
sejahtera
Ma'am.
untuk kita semua. Saya cek presensis dulu ya sebentar. Ini, jadi saya pakai dua ini. Headphones. Ada?
Present, Ma'am.
Oke, thank you. Uni Handayani. Uni, no. Oke, Rahmati
Absent.
Kurata. Ya. Rahmati Kurata ini
Hadir.
hadir. Oke, Arif Purnama
Hadir,
hadir.
mem.
Oke. Liga Valiansyah.
Present, Ma'am.
Oke. Pak Tuhu ada? Tuhu Wiono.
Away lagi.
Iya.
Di jalan.
Oke.
Iya.
Tapi ada di Zoom kita ya, Pak Tuhu ada.
Ada. Heeh.
Di Wirabaya ya.
Hadir, Ma'am.
Oke. Sofiatul Ilma.
Hadir, Ma'am.
Oke. Twini Zulia Pridayana.
Yes, Ma'am.
Oke. Nurlina.
Hadir, Ma'am.
Oke. Hasan. Ibu Hasanah ada? No. Merianti.
Present, ma'am.
Oke. Rahayu Erlina.
Yes, ma'am.
Oke. Atifatur Rahmania.
Ada.
Oke. Fitri Maulidia.
Yes, ma'am.
Oke. Zahro Salsabila.
Present, ma'am. Hadir,
Oke.
ma'am.
Ya, ya.
Yes, ma'am.
Oke. Pak Haris.
Yeah, present, ma'am. I'm here.
Iya. Terakhir Astri Permatasari.
Hadir, ma'am.
Oke, baik. Ya, sudah semua ya Bapak Ibu ya.
Izin Ibu, di depan saya belum bisa baru masuk.
Siapa ini? Pak Tuhu.
Iya.
Enggak, Pak. Oke, kita simpan ya Bapak Ibu. Oke, kita masuk ke materi kita hari ini. We are going to discuss about application ya, the applications of Berkeley and Venn diagram theory in analysis. Itu akan di eh, belum, sebentar saya belum buka file. Sudah di-share belum di grup ininya? Bahannya belum ya? Kelompok penyaji.
Belum, ma'am.
Mm-mm. Terusnya a day before biar teman-teman bisa cek ya. Nah,
Hmm.
depan.
Hmm.
Nah, ini kan kita akan menampilkan analisisnya ya, kelompok penyaji. Jadi harus ada eh, apa contohnya nih. Kalau kemarin kita sudah apa menerangkan sedikit CD analysis using Fairclough ya. Kemarin kita coba. Oh iya, ya. Kelompok 6 ya, Ibu Putri dan Ibu Rahmati. Oke. Jadi ini
Yes,
ada
ma'am.
aplikasi seperti apa, kemudian examining research in CDA. Nah, ini yang paling penting. Kemudian berdasarkan RPS itu ada Planning and Individual Research for Thesis and Publication. Jadi memang di-encourage ya Bapak Ibu untuk bisa melakukan penelitian ini. Isi judul ya untuk your thesis later on. Oke, silakan kelompok 6 ya, group 6. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Let me share the screen first. Apa sudah terlihat, Bapak Ibu?
Ya, kelihatan.
Okay.
Terlihat.
Coba di full screen kali ya, Miss.
Already? Kelihatan nggak, Miss?
Oke. Iya, ya, kelihatan.
Oke, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam.
warahmatullahi
Okay, first of
wabarakatuh.
all, let us thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessings and guidance so we can gather here today in good health. May peace and blessing be upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, our final messenger. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation session. So I will be your moderator for this session. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. So our presenters will discuss about critical discourse analysis, focusing on the theories of Norman Fairclough and Ten A. van Dijk. And this topic is important because it helps us understand how language is related to power, ideology, and social context. And then the presentation will be divided into several parts. After the presentation, we will have a discussion and Q&A session. So, without any further ado, I would like to invite our presenters, Emma, to start their presentation. Please, Emma, the time is yours.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are in a good condition. I'm Rahmati Kotaini as the first speaker, and my student number is 2024 74 79 000 009. Sorry. Today, I'm going to explain especially about the application of Norman Fairclough and Van Dijk theory in the text analysis. Okay, in the first slide, I will tell you about the introduction to application of Norman Fairclough and Van Dijk in theory in text analysis. I think this material has already been explained by the previous group in the last. Briefly re-explain the key concept of both theories. Okay, as we can see here, critical discourse analysis or CDA aims to uncover how language is used, maintain, reproduce, or challenge power relation in society. Two of the most influential figures in CDA are Fairclough and Van Dijk. Fairclough is known for model, which examines the relationship between language, power, and society. Meanwhile, Van Dijk is known for the socio-cognitive model, which explains that discourse is shaped through the interaction between cognition, social structures, and ideology. And both theories are widely applied to analyze news texts, public policies, and other forms of social discourse. Next slide, please. Okay. As we can see here, Norman Fairclough explained that critical discourse analysis must be conducted through three dimensions consists of text or description, discursive practice or interpretation, and social practice or explanation. The first is text or description. This dimension focuses on linguistic features present in the text, such as lexical choice, grammar, metaphor, transitivity, modality, and cohesion. Lexical choice, grammar, and metaphor used to shape meaning. Meanwhile, transitivity, modality, and cohesion used to examine how actions are conveyed, how the degree of certainty or necessity expressed, and how part of the text are logically connected. And the second is this discursive practice or interpretation. This dimension concerns the production, distribution, and text. And the key question include who produced the text, for whom was it produced, how is intertextual use, and what social condition shape meaning. And the third dimension is social practice or explanation. This dimension explores the broader social context in which the discourse operates, theology, political structures, social conflict, and economic structures, which used to explain why the text was produced in the particular way by connecting it to larger system of powers, beliefs, and structures. Next slide, please. Okay, the next theory is from Van Dijk. That discourse must be analyzed through the interaction of three text structures: social cognition, and ideological squares. Okay, the first is text structures. The text structures is divided into two: microstructures and macrostructures. Microstructures focus on detailed linguistic elements, rhetorical device, activative structures, and metaphor. Meanwhile, macrostructures represent the global meaning or overall theme of the text. Or it can be said, a macrostructures is represent the summarize or identify the main message of the text. The second is is the core of Van Dijk's theory. It involves how individual knowledge, belief, and mind influence them to produce, understand, and remember discourse. And it refers to mental models or how personal experience, social representation, or how or shared belief, schemata, or knowledge structures, and ideology or And the third is ideological square. Ideological square is a formula for analyzing how social groups emphasize positive aspects of themselves and negative aspects of others. This ideological square divided into 4 strategies. The first is emphasize our good action, and it functions positive self-image. The second one is emphasize their bad action. It functions to discredit the out group. The third is don't play or bad action. It functions to conceal or minimizing one own fault. And the last is don't play their good action. It functions to disparaging or ignoring the out group action. The next, our group will show the application of Fairclough and Van Dijk's theory in analyzing Obama-Tucson memorial speech from 2011, and the text become the object of analysis is displayed on the slide. I will read it for you guys. We cannot and will not be violent. We should be civil in our public discourse and treat each other with kindness. Let us remember that we are all part of one American family. If this tragedy prompts reflection and debate, let it be worthy of those we have lost and those we hope to save. Next slide, please. Slide. This slide present the analysis of the text based on Norman Fairclough three-dimensional framework of critical discourse analysis. Okay. The first is textual analysis or description of language feature. In this stage, focus on vocabulary, grammar, choices. The first one, we can see the use of modality. In this stage, Obama explained strong modal expression such as cannot, will not, and should. These modal verbs cannot and will not express strong obligation and collective commitment. And the use of should in use or represent normative modality which function to recommend ideal behavior. Through this modality, Obama positioned morality as a shared responsibility. Okay, the next is inclusive pronoun. The use of inclusive pronouns such as we, us, and our construct unity and collect like we cannot, we should be civil, and let us remember reduce social distance between speakers and the audience. And it also builds solidarity after a national tragedy. The next, there is evaluate word. Obama used evaluative words such as civil, kindness, and worthy. Obama used positively moral ethical guidance. The next is metaphorical framing. The metaphor that used in this text is one American family. This metaphor constructs a national solidarity frame, positioning American as emotional connected member of one household. By conceptualizing the country as a values of care, responsibility, and mutual support. And the next one is conditional clause. The conditional clause is if this tragedy prompt reflection, frame tragedy as an opportunity for moral improvement rather than representing the tragedy as a moment of loss. Obama encouraged the audience in reflection and positive change. The next slide, please. Miss Putri.
Already, Emma?
Next slide, please.
Is it seen?
Miss Putri.
Freeze kayaknya. Oh, ini dia.
Little
Thank
bit,
you.
Emma.
The second is discursive practice. This dimension focuses on the process of how the text is produced, distributed, and consumed. It serves as the bridge connecting the text itself to broader social context. The first is production. The speech delivered during a memorial event to mourn, and the text combine political discourse, mourning rhetoric, and moral persuasion. Distribution is describing how the text was disseminated and circulated. The speech broadcast nationally by major news network and circulated online in newspapers, contextualized by journalists and political comment, which mean they interpret and frame the speech for their respective audience. Okay, the next one is consumption. Consumption refers to how different audience interpret the speech. General public interpret the speech for unity and healing, while politicians see it as an encouragement to reduce aggressive political rhetoric. Meanwhile, victim families see it as a form of conciliation. This interpretation in Fairclough, the interpretation can shape by interaction between the text and audience. Okay, the third dimension is social practice. This is the broadest dimension, because it examining how the discourse interact with power, ideology, and the larger social context. Can see here there is ideological message, and the ideological promoted by Obama includes civility ideologies in political communication, unity ideology that shown at the motto for one American family, and non-violence and moral responsibility. While power relation is shown from the Obama national authority to shape national discourse on violence, influence attitude about public civility, reframe as tragedy as a moral moment for the country. And the social context shown from the relevant social politic condition. The speech occurred during heightened political in the US, and it represents indirectly to claim that political discourse had become hostile, and the speech become part of broader social effort to restore unity. Okay, the next slide, please. Miss,
Is it
okay,
seen, Emma?
thank you. In this slide, present an analysis of Barack Obama using Van Dyke critical discourse analysis framework. This framework emphasizes the relationship between text structure, social cognition, and ideology, focusing on how discourse shape group identity, shared values, and power relation in the first is text structures. Okay. The text structures show how global theme and local linguistic choice work together to guide audience interpretation. The first one, there is macro structures, refers to overall topic or global message of the speech. In this speech, the main message reflection, unity, and improve public discourse. Violence should be confronted through civility, not division. Americans share a common national identity. In simple terms, Obama encouraged the public to respond to tragedy with unity, maturity, and ethical behavior rather than anger or blame. Focus on specific linguistic elements that support the overall message. The first is implication presupposition. Obama does not state everything explicitly, but presupposes several ideas, and they are violence threatens national unity, civility in public discourse has declined, and should be improved. According to Van Dyke, such preposition influence how audience think about they are present as taken for granted truth. The next one, speech aid. The speech contains several types of speech aids: directive, assertive, and commissive. From the text, let us remember. And assertive, shown from the text, we cannot and will not be passive. and commissive, implying commitment to moral improvement. This speech act show that Obama is not only informing the audience but also guiding, persuading, and committing to shared moral action. And the next one is the Obama employs rhetorical strategies such as parallelism, especially the repetition of we to emphasize unity, and moral appeals, including kindness, civility, and family. From Fanjic perspective, the structures guide citizen moral interpretation of tragedy. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, the second dimension is social cognition. The social cognition refers to the shared knowledge, belief, and values held by members of a society. The first is shared values. Obama emphasized values such as kindness and civility rooted in American narrative of democracy and community. And the second one is contraction of us. The statement "we are all part of one American family" is an example of positive self-representation of American as compassionate and united. And implication negative, others. The praise such violence introduce an implication others representing harmful behavior. However, he avoid polarizing group, maintaining inclusiveness. Okay, the third dimension is ideological square. As I explained before, the is a central concept in Van Dyck theory, and it explains how discourse typically shown from four strategies. The first emphasize our good action, the second is de-emphasize our bad action, the third is emphasize their bad action, and the fourth, de-emphasize their good action. And here is how it appears in the speech. Or the first is positive as. Shown from the text, we should be civil, treat each other with kindness. It shows Americans are portrayed as ethical and civilized. And de-emphasize them. Obama avoiding to blaming specific political or social group, reducing polarization or the risk of division. It's not a group. It's shown from in the face of such violence, which this piece condemn violence as an action rather than labeling a group. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Of analysis taken from a journal entitled Study of Political Discourse or CDA, Tone and Van Dyck in Jokowi News, Sentil Minister related to oil price increase on Berita1.com by Zay Anastasia and Anwar Effendi, published in 2023. We only selected several data from the result and discussion, and here are the following summary of the result. It will be represented by Miss Putri. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Emma. Is my voice clear, Emma? Okay, thank you so much. So here is the example of the article from this one. We know that macro structure or global theme of the news. So from this article, the analysis shows that the news construct Remarks, a global theme portraying President Jokowi as a decisive leader, while ministers are framed as slow and unresponsive in handling the increase in cooking oil and Pertamax prices. And in here, this theme is supported by Jokowi's statement, quotes in the news. Here is the quotes. There is no statement, there is no communication, there is no explanation as to why this happened. Berita1.com, April 6, 20 and 22. Okay, next we go to microstructure in semantic aspect about background and detail. The semantic analysis reveals that the news emphasizes the absence of ministerial communication as the main cause of public confusion and unrest. So the background of the news is dominated by the following statement. Here is the statement. There is no statement, there is no communication, there is no explanation. Okay, so next, microstructure sentence form the sentence. The news predominantly use active sentences, which position President Jokowi as the main actor in addressing the issue. In the news, the active sentence is shown in the following fragment. So, Jokowi stressed that the public will assume the government is not working and remain silent, seeing the difficulties of the people. If the ministers or heads of institution do not provide any explanation or information regarding this matter. Next, about the microstructure pronouns. The news text uses personal pronoun to emphasize President Jokowi's call for immediate action from his minister. It shows from the sentence, don't let us act as usual and not be seen by the public as doing nothing, said Jokowi. And then another sentence, be careful, we don't think we are doing nothing, not working, or maybe not doing anything, not working, said Jokowi. So here we know that the pronoun us position ministers as responsible actors, while the inclusive pronoun we, kita, involves all parties, including Jokowi himself. So it is a brief explanation from the journal. And then the result and discussion about social cognition analysis. From this article, the news responds to public confusion about rising prices. And then it portrays President Jokowi positively and criticizes unresponsive ministers. And Berita1.com tends to support government, discourse, and shape public opinion. Next, about social context analysis. The news appears amid public debate on rising prices, and it generates public pros and cons about Jokowi's leadership. Next, the social context also about the discourse guides public perception of responsibility for the crisis. Okay, so that's an explanation about the journal. So we go to the next session. Here about planning an individual CDA research for thesis and publications. In this part, A, about identifying a social issue and context. The first step in CDA research is to identify a social issue and its context. In critical discourse analysis, the topic must always involve language, ideology, and power relation. A strong CDA topic usually focuses on how certain groups are represented, how authority is constructed, or how social inequality is maintained or challenged through language. Examples of possible topics include the representation of teachers in online news, or maybe a political discourse during elections, gender representation in advertisement, or education policies related to teacher authority. And choosing a meaningful social issue is very important because CDA is not only about language analysis, but also about understanding social problems and power structures in society. And next page here, part B, it's about developing research questions. After you guys selecting a topic, the next step is to develop research questions. Research question in CDA should not be descriptive only, but also critical. In here, we know that the questions usually ask about how groups are represented in discourse, or maybe what ideologies are promoted or challenged, or how power relation appears in text, and what linguistic strategies are used to achieve these meanings. From clear research question helps the researcher stay focused and determine the most suitable analytical framework from the study. Next page here, part C is about selecting a CDA framework. The next step is choosing an appropriate CDA framework. The choice must be based on the research questions. Okay. If your research focuses on language use and social context, Norman Fairclough three-dimensional model can be used. This model analyzes discourse at the level of text, discursive practice, and social practice. But if you guys, the research focuses on ideology, on how discourse influence people thinking, then Evangelic's socio-cognitive model is more suitable. This model emphasizes macrostructure, microstructure, social cognition, and ideology. In some studies also, researchers may combine more than one framework to gain deeper analysis. However, it is important to clearly explain and justify the chosen framework. Okay, next part is about data collection and sampling. After selecting the framework, the theory, and then the researchers needs to decide on data collection and sampling. In CDA, data can come from many types of text, such as news articles, social media posts, political speeches, interviews, policy documents, or advertisement. And then CDA usually use purposive sampling, which means the researchers select text based on their relevance to the research topic. The focus is not on large amounts of data, but on text that clearly reflect the discourse being studied. Next part here is part A. It's about data analysis procedures. The next step is explaining the data analysis procedures. This part is very important, especially for thesis writing and publications. If using a Fairclough model, the analysis include the first one is about description, which focuses on linguistic features such as vocabulary, grammar, modality, and text structure. And then the second is about interpretation, which examines how the text is produced, distributed, and consumed. The third is explanation, which connects the discourse to ideology, power relation, and social context. But if you guys using Panjik, the theory of this one, the analysis focuses on macrostructure to identify the main theme, and then microstructure to analyze detailed language features, and then social cognition to examine shared belief and ideologies, and the last one is about social context to explain power relation. Next part, F here is about writing the finding. A strong CDA research report should present findings clearly and critically. According to this one, the findings section should include the first one, direct excerpts from the data, and then the detailed linguistic analysis, and then interpretation based on theory, and explanation connected to social and political context. Because the finding should show how language constructs social reality and influences power relation in society. The next part is preparing for publication. Finally, when preparing a CDA study for publications, researchers must follow the journal's formatting guidelines, such as APA style. They should also ensure originality, provide strong theoretical justification, and clearly explain the implications of the study for society, education, or policy. And CDA research should demonstrate critical thinking, careful analysis, and clear academic writing. And then here, the conclusion is planning an individual CDA research requires careful preparation, from choosing a social issue to writing the findings. And then by following these steps, researchers can produce a strong CDA study that contributes to academic discussion and social awareness. Yeah, I think that's all from our presentation, guys. So we will move to the discussion session. If you have any question or comments, please feel free to ask. You may raise your hand, guys. Yes, please. Q&A session.
To the restroom ya. Jadi silakan go on your discussion ya. Bentar. Silakan lanjut.
Yeah, okay, guys. Do you have any questions related to our presentation? Yes, Miss Fitri, you raise your hand. And also Miss Sophie. Yes, Miss Fitri first.
Sekarang atau tungguin Mem Mayang dulu ya?
Mem Mayang kemana?
Sekarang aja. Hah?
Mem Mayang kemana?
Ke restroom katanya.
Oh, tungguin dulu kali ya.
Tungguin aja ya.
Oke.
I guess. Baca. Okay, thank you for the clear presentation. Jangan berisik ya, Mama mau ngomong nih. Kasih itu kan. Nanti Mama kasih. Kayak nggak punya duit aja. Jangan berisik ya, guys.
Dosennya kemana, Put?
Ke restroom dulu katanya, Net. Tungguin apa lanjut
Oh,
nih?
Tapi
lanjut aja.
katanya sih suruh lanjut aja sih.
Lanjut aja.
Lanjut aja ya. Oke. Thank you, guys. There are 4 questions actually. Miss Fitri, Miss Sophie, Miss Atifatur, and Miss Twini. Maybe Miss Fitri first. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. My question is, what are the main differences between Fairclough model and Van Dijk model in analyzing this course? And which model do you think is easier to use for beginners and why? Repeat or not nih?
Enough. Thank you, Miss
Enough ya.
Fitri. Okay, the next question is from Miss Sophie. Miss Sophie, please.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Putri. I will give a question. The question is, how can analyzing the overall meaning of a text, macrostructure, and the detailed language features microstructure help us find hidden message or ideologies? Text like news article, advert. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sophie. Next, Miss Atifatur.
Okay. My
Yes, please.
question is, but before that, thank you so much for the presentation anyway. Okay, my question is, why is social cognition important in fungic theory? And how people share beliefs affect how a text is understood?
Thank you,
Thank
Miss
you.
Nia, for the question. The last question is from Miss Twinnie. Please.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Putri and friends. I would like to ask a question about why does critical discourse as a connected to power and ideology, not just as a tool for communication, how language can influence people in society?
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Twinnie, for the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, Emma, maybe you want to answer first? Emma, hello?
I will try to answer the question from Miss Sophie. The question is how can analyzing the overall meaning of a text and detailed language features help us find hidden message or ideologies? Is that true?
Yes, Miss.
Macrostructures help us understand the main message or topic of the text, or as we explained before, the macrostructures is referred to summarize the main topic or general topic of the message. It shows what the text want readers look at a small language details such as word choice, sentence form, pronoun, and modality. And this language choice are very important. For example, using active sentence can show who is responsibility for an action, while passive sentence can hide responsibility. Using word with positive look at readers' opinions. Pronouns like we or they can show group identity, and by analyzing both macro and microstructures, we can see how ideology is built into a text even when it is not stated clearly. That's it. Is it
Thank you,
clear?
Fatma.
Sophie? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Maybe I will try to answer Miss Twinnie question. Miss Twinnie. So if I'm not mistaken, your question is, why does CDA see language as connected to power and ideology, not only as communication? Is that right, Miss Twinnie?
That's right, Miss Putri.
Okay, I'll try to answer. So, CDA actually believes that language is not natural. Language does not only share about information, but also influences how people think and understand social reality. People who have power, such as instructions, such as institution, governments, or maybe the media, often use language to support certain ideas and values. And then also CDA studies how discourse can maintain or challenge power relation in society. For example, when a text use words like must, should, or cannot, it shows obligation and authority. These language choices guide readers to accept certain behaviors or belief as normal. And over time, this language helps spread ideology, which is a system of belief shared by a group. Actually, because of this, CDA focus on language as a social practice that reflects power and ideology, not just a communication tool. Communication tool. That's the answer, Miss Twinnie.
That's clear, Miss Putri. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Miss Twinnie. Next, Emma, you want to try to answer maybe Miss Nia question?
Okay, I'll try to answer Miss Nia question. The question is, why is social cognition important in Van Dijk's theory? Is it right, Miss Nia?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. I'll try to answer it. As we know, social cognition is very important because it explains how discourse influences society through people thinking. According to Van Dijk, people understand text based on shared belief, values, and knowledge. As explained before, that discourse does not state is shape social cognition, which then influence attitude and behavior. For example, repeated message in the text can change how people see certain group or social issues. And social cognition also explain the ideological square, where groups describe themselves positively and other negatively. And this process solution in society without using direct force. That's it. Is it clear enough?
Yes, Miss Nia.
Miss Nia?
Yes, Miss. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Nia. Okay, the last
You're
question. Yeah, we have 4 questions. Yeah, the last question is from Miss Fitri. So the question is, what are the main differences between Fairclough model and Van Dijk's model in analyzing discourse? And then, which model do you think is easier to use for beginners and why? Is it true, Miss Fitri?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'll try to answer. Actually, Fairclough model explain discourse using 3 level. There is text, and then discursive practice, and also social practice. But at the text level, we look at the language features such as vocabulary, grammar, and modality. And at the discursive practice level, we study how a text is produced and consumed. At the social practice level, we connect again to the text to social context like power and ideology. But if we want to use Van Dijk's model, it focuses more on how people think. He explains that discourse works through social cognition, such as shared knowledge, belief, and ideologies. His model includes macro structure, as we explained before, and then which looks at the main idea of the context, and also microstructures, which looks at detailed language features. So I think, in my opinion, for beginners, Fairclough model is easier because it has clear step. Van Dijk model is helpful also to understand how discourse influence people's mind. Yeah, that's the answer, Miss Fitri. Is it clear now?
Clear.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for all the questions. Thank you for your participation. So we have come to an end of today's session. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
back to Ma'am
wabarakatuh.
Mayang.
Yeah, okay, thank you ya. Kelompok 6 we have discussed about some examples of analysis ya, dan one example from apa tadi saya sebut? Article ya, from article took from ini Britain International of Linguistic Arts and Education, ya, Science Journal. Nah, saya tadi sudah coba direct langsung ya, direct ya langsung, sorry, direct to the journal. Ya, walaupun judulnya adalah Study of Critical Discourse Analysis using Van Dijk theory, yang di apa ya, relate to Jokowi News ya, yang disampaikan. Nah, according to the presenter, menurut kelompok penyaji, how do you see the art? Jadi ini bukan lagi tahap bagaimana menerapkan ya, apply the critical discourse analysis in this text, tapi kalau according to you seperti apa ini analisis yang digunakan atau penerapannya? Ini saya sudah buka input jurnalnya. Oke, or apa? Karena dia ternyata kan ini jurnalnya tidak terindeks ini ya, teman-teman ya. This journal is not indexed by entah Sintaka, entah lagi Scopus enggak ya, ini bukan ya. Dia hanya terindeks apa ini kita lihat Crossref ya. Crossref, kemudian ada Google Scholar dan juga terindeks. Jadi sebetulnya kalau kita mau evaluate this Van Dijk theory, ini asal ada beberapa. Maybe we can say weaknesses, ya, kelemahan ya. Saya sih harapannya bisa mengambil dari jurnal yang terakreditasi ya. Jadi bisa the result of the article itu bisa granted ya, garansi. Gitu. Nah ini sebetulnya tadi saya coba baca. Ini orang Indonesia ya. Berapa weaknesses? Kalau menurut saya sih. Tapi kalau silakan menurut kelompok penyaji. Atau tidak sampai ke sana melihatnya. Mungkin contoh aja gitu ya. Oke ya. Silakan. Tapi siapa kelompoknya? Terus saya harus bolak-balik gini. Ya Bu Putri sama siapa tadi Ibu? Bu Rahmati ya. Nah, silakan. Dan Bu Rahmati.
Kebetulan iya, mencarinya di Google Scholar, Mem. Terus karena iya tidak terlalu menguasai juga materinya bagaimana, jadi saya lihat yang saya pahami, yang bisa saya pahami yang mana. Jadi akhirnya kami memutuskan mengambil yang itu begitu.
Oke, good. Tapi untuk aplikasi sih bisa ya kan dia sudah menerapkan sebetulnya pada ya. Kalau last week kita kan discuss about Fairclough ya in details ya. Jadi ada short paragraph yang kita analisis. Nah di sini kan teman-teman mengambil penerapannya untuk Van Dijk theory, that's okay ya. Ini 2023 ya publikasinya. Cuma kalau untuk as a reference ini juga perlu kita pertimbangkan. Jadi ada beberapa weaknesses mungkin yang bisa dihindari. Artikel about using CDA ini. Jadi, kalau saya lihat sih dia sebetulnya lebih ke apa ya? The analysisnya lebih deskriptif ya, deskriptif rather
Iya,
than critical.
iya,
Ya nggak sih?
iya lebih deskriptif.
Iya, kita nggak dapat poin kritikalnya di situ gitu. Padahal kan
Iya,
judulnya saja adalah CDA kan, penggunaan CDA dalam bla
iya.
bla bla. Nah, itu satu sih sebetulnya. Saya sih melihat kerjanya lebih sangat deskriptif. Eh, jadi di banyak artikelnya, di banyak part of the articles dia retail sebetulnya ya. Bapak Ibu, retails summarizes the news content sebetulnya. Jadi apa instead of critically interrogating ideology or power, for example. Nah, itu yang mungkin apa? Ini ada beberapa petikan di artikel itu the meaning shown is to provide ya bla bla bla. Ini sebetulnya statementnya apa ya restate kan? The meaning shown in news. Jadi kita tidak hanya merestate apa ya, menstate ulang apa yang disampaikan oleh apa data data kita. Ini kan newsnya ya dari apa? Dia ngambil dari bentar, bisa lihat berita1.com ya, kalau nggak salah ya. Is it?
Yes, ma'am, berita1.com.
Nah, iya itu. Ya, dia merestate itu aja tuh. Jadi harusnya dia bisa apa ya? Not only restate the functions of news ya, jadi tidak ada its ideology, ideological role yang ditampilkan. Jadi bisa mungkin what the text says itu bisa kita ganti dengan apa misalnya, for example what the text does ya ideologically. Nah itu harusnya kita ngomong itu ya. Jadi sebetulnya menyampaikan apa gitu. Jadi tidak merestate sebetulnya, tapi mengungkap. Nah itu tadi ya recover ya uncover, membuka atau apa menguak ya reveal ya, the ideology. Jadi bisa kita sebutkan what the text does ideologically dari ya. Jadi mungkin itu ya apa hal yang bisa kita ini kan dalam penyusunan nanti ya, discussions of the data analysis ya. Jadi bisa apa ya provides information itu bisa lebih dipertajam, bisa dengan cara apa explain how the text legitimizes, kalau kita mau melegitimasi ya presidential authority kan itu intinya begitu ya. Jadi teks ini
Baik.
kan dia melegitimasi kebijakannya Pak Jokowi, right? Portraying Jokowi as a decisive apa kan? Implicitly shifting responsibility for failure onto minister sebetulnya. Jadi sebetulnya suggesting analyticalnya bisa apa ya? The news doesn't merely inform but construct sebetulnya ya, construct Jokowi as a corrective authority, right? You can say that, reinforcing executive dominance, yeah, while normalizing. Okay, good. Kemudian apa lagi misalnya? Iya, kan di bagian apa menggunakan Finder ini kita harus apa ya? Perkuatnya di social cognition analysis ya, itu seharusnya gitu. Karena memang Van Dijk social cognition ini is claimed as central sebetulnya Bapak Ibu. Tapi kemudian di superficial sebetulnya dia ya. Ini teksnya tadi saya oh ya, jadi dia seperti assertifnya ya. The news seems to answer question from the public who are wondering about the government's attitude ya, sikap pemerintah. Ya. Jadi sebetulnya klaim ini lebihnya ke assertif ya, klaim mereka. Jadi tidak apa ya, analytically demonstrated how bagaimana government untuk menjawab apa ya social cognition analysisnya. Jadi dia underdeveloped sebetulnya. Jadi bisa apa the author misalnya nanti kita atau mungkin suggestion to the author explicitly gitu ya reconstruct mental model sebetulnya. Jadi merekonstruksi model apa ya mental ya. For example mungkin dari POV journalist assumption misalnya ya asumsi jurnalis seperti apa atau audience belief atau mungkin shared ideological knowledge ya relate to the topic. Jadi bisa apa ya? Bisa ada semacam a shared cognitive schema gitu ya, bahwa government responsiveness itu adalah public trust gitu, kepercayaan publik sebetulnya di situ. Nah itu yang harusnya dibentuk ya dalam apa ya analisis ini. Jadi apa ini Jokowi skema expense by Jokowi sentil gitu ya, itu is framed positively rather than as political apa ya theater, pertunjukan politik sebetulnya kita lihat kalau disebut kata-kata sentil itu, right? Oke. Itu sebenarnya banyak ya beberapa hal yang saya tapi itu oke. Mungkin intinya adalah bahwa teks ini perlu bagus sih sebetulnya ya. Kalau Bapak itu mungkin nanti sudah mengasah lebih penting tadi prinsip-prinsip ya. The principle of CDA itu betul-betul dipahami bahwa tidak hanya sekedar state atau apa, tapi betul kita akan apa ya mereview, menguak gitu sisi-sisi yang sebetulnya tidak terbaca gitu ya. Dan sengaja sebetulnya karena memang teks itu tidak ada yang bebas nilai, pasti ada nilai Bapak Ibu. Sepintar-pintarnya oh kita adalah media netral, kita tidak enggak mungkin gitu ya, akan ada kecenderungan. Jadi itu perlu kita mengungkap hal-hal tersebut ya secara lebih, apalagi masyarakat kita yang kan perlu dicerdaskan ya Bapak Ibu, tingkat literasinya dan segala macamnya gitu. Apalagi mungkin ada menjelang event-event besar, apalagi event-event politik ya di Indonesia itu perlu sekali sehingga tidak mudah terbawa arus. Masalahnya yaitu ya kita hebohnya kan di itu, nah kita nggak melihat lagi tuh pertanggungjawaban para kontestan, right? Sekarang ini apa musibah di Sumatera ya, itu bagaimana penanganannya gitu, seolah tidak terlihat lagi. Nah itu sebenarnya bisa dianalisis ya. Kenapa kok tidak keluar nih gitu ya status bencana nasional gitu? Padahal sudah sebesar itu kan gitu. Ini Bapak Ibu menarik ya. Mungkin yang saya akan ambil.
Sibuk
Iya.
nge-audit, Bu.
Lambat nih. Pasti ada sesuatu yang disembunyikan kan? Ada sesuatu Bapak Ibu yang disembunyikan di sini. Di teks-teks narasi-narasi yang mereka keluarkan juga seperti itu. Padahal sudah sejelas itu ya. Fakta bersuara gitu ya. Bagaimana di lapangan kondisi dan segala macam. Ini nggak mungkin tidak gitu. Dan kita bisa melihat ya apa sih gitu ya yang terjadi nih. Bahkan mungkin nggak apa ya kalau kita mau apple to apple dengan tsunami di Aceh itu mungkin apa ya mungkin dari segi korban atau apa. Tapi kalau yang tsunami kan betul-betul alam ya, bencana alam. Tapi ini sebetulnya adalah yang sekarang ini ada tangan manusia kan, invisible hands and foot dan nggak mungkin apalagi. Nah itu agak sensitif yang menyebutkan kenapa our leader, our president itu tidak mengeluarkan. Nah, itu ada. Nah itu bisa ya diungkap dari narasi-narasi wacana ya berita. Ini kita bisa melihat. Atau mungkin dari statement dari our president sendiri itu semua bisa dianalisis. Jadi itu ya, jadi memang harus tapi setidaknya kita suruh punya alat ya Bapak Ibu. Jadi bahasa itu bisa dia punya power, dia bisa mengungkap, dia menguak hal-hal yang tidak, dan inilah gunanya CDA itu kita pelajari. Nah termasuk yang ini juga ya. Makan kalau kemarin saya memang bisa nggak sampai ke kritikalnya itu karena memang data kelemahannya dia datanya hanya satu di artikel ya. Artinya dia bisa combine gitu ya beberapa artikel sehingga kelihatan tuh bagaimana macam media menyorot masalah ini. Nah jadi bisa terlihat nanti kalau membuat comparison atau komparasi gitu. Jadi tergantung juga itu kalau karena data saya corpus itu kan banyak ya. Jadi memang kita harus ada layer-layer ya, layer-layer analisis di situ sampai nanti ke explain yang harus dikejar di analisis. Oke, mungkin itu ya secara teori that's okay ya Bapak Ibu tadi sudah menyampaikan, tinggal nanti mengasah ya banyak praktik dan membaca artikel-artikel atau yang yang qualified ya, bagaimana kemudian karena memang beda ya. Jadi kalau sudah terindeks misalnya itu kan proses reviewnya tuh lebih kemudian saya juga reviewer ya, jadi memang kita lihat gitu. Jadi semakin tinggi indeksnya itu akan strict banget itu untuk bisa lolos di jurnal tersebut. Tapi that's okay, ini adalah introduction, introduction bagi Bapak Ibu untuk mengenal CDA. That's okay, ini sudah bagus banget. Terima kasih, thank you very much Ibu Rahmawati, sama satu lagi Ibu siapa sebentar saya lupa. Ibu Putri ya. Thank you very much, you have give good explanation to your friends. Oke ya Bapak Ibu, kan depan terakhir ya, the last class ya, itu tentang trends and issue. Nah artinya apa sebetulnya untuk apa ya, linguistik ini banyak sekali issues topik yang bisa kita bahas, tapi karena kita limited by time ya, jadi tidak semua bisa dibahas. Nanti kita akan coba ya menutup celah-celah yang tidak bisa kita bahas itu di materi pekan depan. Jadi trends and issues in linguistik semoga bisa tercover semua. Ini ke Bapak Ibu tentang linguistik ya gitu. Mungkin udah burn out atau bagaimana, mudah-mudahan bisa ini menjadi apa ya, tambahan insight ya for you linguistically, secara linguistik. Saya rasa cukup ya Bapak Ibu. Thank you very much for joining this class. Sebetulnya planning and individual CDA research for thesis and publication ini sebetulnya juga encourage sebetulnya Bapak Ibu. Tadi juga sudah dijelaskan step-stepnya oleh kelompok penyaji. Kan saya sudah sharing juga ya RPS-nya. Itu memang lembaga mendorong Bapak Ibu untuk menjadikan topik ini sebagai topik tesis. Cuma, nah itu ya, saya agak sedikit susah mendorongnya karena nanti akan berhadapan juga dengan birokrasi ketika pengajuan judul ya Bapak Ibu di lembaga kita. Gitu. Nah, saya sebetulnya semangat tuh ya. Ada kemarin kasus kakak kelas Bapak Ibu ya, ada beberapa orang yang sudah konsultasi juga secara tidak resmi ke saya, tapi ketika pengajuan judul tahapannya wah kayaknya dia gitu, sekarang dia hilang tuh, nggak tahu, mungkin sepertinya sudah berganti topik ya, sudah berganti judul karena memang apa ya, persyaratan di lembaga kita ini kan lebih ke education ya. Nah, jadi memang harus ada, kalau memang mau mengkaji ini CDA harus dikaitkan dengan education. Apalagi nanti kalau udah materi metodologi penelitian kalau tidak salah ya, lembaga kita memiliki kebijakan tersendiri ya. Jadi mungkin pandai-pandailah nanti kalau memang mau menggunakan ini gitu ya, karena tuntutannya mungkin tidak segampang ya ketika kita berdiskusi di mata kuliah ini. Tapi that's okay karena ini ada dorongan dari lembaga, tetap saya cantumkan di teaching unit Bapak Ibu. Kalaupun tidak nanti di sini melakukan ini CDA ini ya, mungkin ada hal-hal yang kita academically kita bisa menjadikan ini sebagai sarana ya, untuk menyampaikan kritik kita, menyampaikan ide kita gitu ya, dimanapun kita berada dalam konteks. Mungkin itu ya, semoga bisa dipahami. Thank you very much Bapak Ibu. See you next week. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Thank you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Ya, saya izin ya Bapak Ibu. Terima
Ya,
kasih.
baik, Ma'am.
Silakan.
Ya.